I got my ass absolutely handed to me last night trying to play Mario Kart.
Dude, how good are people at Mario Kart?
Okay,
Well,
first
off, it's not a new game. Come on.
Well, no. See, that's what you're wrong. It is for me. The last Mario Kart.
Hold on. We're gonna get into all this.
Let's face it. As Nintendo fans, we are often left slightly disappointed and scratching our heads asking why. Where is our Super Mario Galaxy 3? Why isn't Metroid out yet? Bring back the Ice Climber seriously, and what were you thinking with the Virtual Boy? Well, sit back as Sean Capri and Bobby Pauls do just that. That's right, this is If We Ran Nintendo. Now, cue the music, maestro.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all of podcasting, Sean Capri. What is up, Sean?
I think I'm going to be relinquishing that title today because of our special guest.
Stop it.
Bobby, I've been saying since the very beginning that it's only a matter of time before you find somebody that you love just a little more.
Listen.
Today could be that day.
I'll tell you right now, and for those who don't know, we're talking about Chris Berto. What is up, Chris?
Good morning. How you doing?
I said that correct, right? Chris Berto?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I'm from Jersey, kind of illiterate, so I have that issue.
I'm from Rhode Island. I'm not much better.
Okay, that's good. Sean, just adjust a little bit.
I'm so happy you guys are together. This is gonna be amazing. I'm just gonna sit back and be a fan. You guys can go at it. It's gonna be awesome.
But I gotta say this: if I did replace you, and I leapfrog Justin Masson, I think I would seriously get murdered. I think he would fly to New Jersey from Ireland and cut my throat.
I think that would be a little harsh.
But I can see that. No,
I think you're safe. I think you're very safe.
Chris, what is up, man? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Recovering from a whooping last night on a little Mario Kart 8 tournament that we had.
That was
and preparing for a Mario Kart 8 party tonight. I got some friends coming over, and wife is decorating the downstairs. She's printed out a bunch of the Mario stars and stuff like that. She's decorating the whole thing, and she's making it's a whole thing. Sounds
like you married Chelsea Capri, honestly.
This is why Chris and I connected, man. We married up.
Oh,
we,
man.
Well for ourselves.
I'm punching way above my weight class here.
Oh yeah,
man.
Yeah, trust me, I am as well. My wife was playing with us last night the whole night long, so when I
got married, I remember just being able to, I wanted to just go out and brag to people going like, I'm a huge nerd and I got married. Not like I didn't even think that was a thing. Like I grew up just thinking like, if you like games, you will never find a lady, never get like, I was just happy with that, let alone way above.
You were just happy to be out of the basement, right?
That's
very happy about it.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that was possible. I'm just proving against the stereotype.
Oh yeah.
Let's kick this episode off like we do each and every episode with our shout-outs. I would be absolutely moronic if I did not give a huge, massive shout-out to... It's twofold. One, it's a massive undertaking that we are in the process of starting. We're not going to get into details because there's so much in the works, but there is some amazing big things in the future for everybody. Just stay tuned, and you're going to hear it. But last night was a small taste of what is to come in the future. And that was, I guess we're calling it the Super Indie Podcast group that we kind of merged and formed. If you take the Justice League and the Avengers and mash them together, that's what it is. It's not just one or the other. This is just amazing that we had 20 different podcast groups, approximately, all get together, pull their fans together for a gigantic Mario Kart tournament last night. And it's still going now. You know, like we started it Friday noon, and it goes till Monday at noon. Mm-hmm. And, shout out to Donnie from PSVG who set that room up for us and got it going. Shout out to you for doing all the stuff that you were doing behind the scenes. And I'm saying Sean.
Yep.
Shout out to Antonio Guillen who did that amazing artwork for it. It was an overwhelming success in my mind.
Yep. Jason Lacey set up the Discord. He
Yes.
walked me through. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on Discord. Jason's just like, this is in my blood. This is he did it in his sleep.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. It was.
Jason was awesome. Stepped up big time.
So last night, for me,
Josh Stapleton
Yes.
got all the word out to all those different. I don't want to. This is the thing, and I was talking to Barry Dunn about this morning. Like, this is all inclusive, and I know just by it picking people out, we're eventually going to leave somebody out. That's not the intent.
I just wanted to give shout out to. Ultimately,
and there's a lot of people who made it work.
Ultimately, it's a twofold. It's the people that set it up and got it rolling, and that I feel like they're owed something because, listen, a lot of egos were put at check at the door to do this, and everybody's jockeying for position, and everybody's trying to be the best, and it's something where it's just like, hey, look, let's just hold the phone, let's take a deep breath.
We don't want to play games.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's just have a good time. But the one thing I want to say is, I've been a part of many tournaments, things like that, like where people are throwing things together and all that. This thing was an overwhelming success, and I hope it continues. I hope like next week, I hope everybody gets back in and does it again, and the week after, and the week after, and it just keeps going because I was tinkering with just a Grand Prix before we actually went in at 8:00 to start. My wife was actually in before and she jumped into your room, Sean. And I think Chris was there at that point at 8:00, and Josh Stapleton was there, and Barry Dunn, and like I'm looking over and I'm like, holy crap! It's like the who's who of podcasting right now up on the TV next to me. I'm like, and then I go over and I jump into another room, and it's like Marty from Nintendo Dads, and like
Donnie's over there,
Adam, Mega Dads,
Adam Leonard from Mega
Adam
Dads,
Leonard was just on last week, and it was like 2 weeks ago by the time this airs, and it was phenomenal. And I just, for myself, looking at that, the success, like, and then it got crazy because when you dip out, like, what I was finding myself doing was I want to see how wide the tentacles go here. So I would back out of rooms and dive back in, and I go into a different room, and there's 6 or 7 people playing there, and then I would back out and go into another one, and there's like another 10 people, and I'm like, I was playing people in Japan. People in Germany, in Switzerland, and I'm like, first off, who are these people?
Yeah, who are you guys?
We've actually got.
Was it Austria? Maybe
that was another one. Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on? This is nuts. You know what I mean? So
cool. It's
amazing. It really is amazing. So, but Chris, I want to ask you, like, we're going to kind of get into details, so don't go crazy. I'm going to it's kind of going to be kind of an interview and all, because the reason why I wanted to bring you on and what interests me was you were a Nintendo fan at one time.
A long time ago.
You left Nintendo.
I did.
And the Switch
They
brought
left
you
me.
back. Well,
there it is.
We'll get into all that. We'll get into all that. The Switch kind of brought you back. So this is your first sampling of Mario Kart in many years.
Yes.
What was your takeaway from this version of it? How did you feel about it?
Well, first of all, it's gorgeous. For the underpowered console, it's not one of the HD twins. That game looks amazing, runs flawlessly. I was impressed.
Yeah.
And I'm bad at it.
Yeah,
that was my first impression. I'm no good.
You'll get good.
I'll get there.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't know what's new to Deluxe versus what was on the Wii U.
Yeah.
I don't remember the double power-ups. That was a thing.
New. That's new. Yeah.
And so that was interesting. That had changed some things up a little bit. I am not used to, and I don't know if they had this on 64. It's been a long time, and we'll get into that. But I found myself not being able, and maybe it's an option I didn't turn on or didn't turn off, controlling with the tiny little Joy-Cons, because I was playing just with the one, was difficult. Like I found it difficult to steer and to stay. I fell off every track you could fall. If you could fall off a corner, I was falling off, and I don't know if that's just lack of practice.
You know what it is, honestly,
or not knowing when to do the slide thing.
No, what that is just you're new. The last one you played was
the Joy-Con. If you're just playing with the single Joy-Con, I gotta imagine I'd be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, like what? So you're saying the last time you played was the Nintendo 64?
64, yeah.
That's the last Mario Kart, dude.
Yep.
There was no drifting back then. There's drifting now. You know what I mean?
Yes, there was.
There was.
Let me save you an oopsie. There was drifting then.
No.
It would change colors.
Recall.
It would go like 1, 2, 3.
No,
Remember?
I don't think. I think you might be thinking Double Dash.
Nope. 100%.
Never played.
Definitely 64. There's drifting.
There's drifting like it is now.
100%.
There might be slides. There might have been power slides,
No,
but I don't think. But I don't think you could go the distance you can go now. Like you can drift.
I feel like you're splitting hairs now.
Well,
but you get a little power boost. You get a little slide.
No,
the
what
numbers
I'm
would go
saying,
like yellow, red, orange.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is there's some tracks that if you don't slide, like you don't learn to slide the way you slide, you'll go off for all day long. Like
That must be all the tracks.
Yeah, I mean, so there's some sharp turns in a lot of them. So, and the other thing is, and this could be, and I could be wrong with this, maybe, I don't know. Was there 150 back then? 150 cc's?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was as fast as this.
It was weird because you had 12 frames a second. Like they had different challenges. You know, like it was a little different.
I think the thing is like if you started this game, I would say go. In theory, maybe go 50, but you're jumping like to never play this game before. To dive in at 150, it's coming so fast.
Last night? Is that what the tournament was?
Yeah, the tournament was 150. So
that was quick.
So it was coming at you fast.
Yeah,
dude,
yeah. Isn't 200 the top, right?
That's insanity.
So I jumped to hard, and then there's insane above that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
That's exactly what you did.
Thank you for that.
But
Thanks for setting me up
this is
for
where
that.
I get to just like blame Donnie.
Yeah.
I'm like, this wasn't me. This is everybody.
No.
Blame Donnie.
But the thing of it is if it was 50 or 100, it would be just insane. Like you would just get smoked because like at least with 150, it kind of closes the gap a little bit because you still 150 is like if you're good, you still have a challenge at it. At times.
Exactly.
It's not.
But
like,
if you're bad, you said it closes the gap. Except that the gap between me and 9th place was DNF.
Yeah, but
did not finish.
Yeah, but at least you're finishing 9th.
No, but I had a good time. But the thing that matters is okay. I did horrible. I was bad. Whatever. I jumped into battle mode and did okay. I think. But through getting my butt kicked the whole time, I was having a blast.
Yes.
And that's the magic. And that's how Nintendo gets you.
Yeah.
Is you can be horrible, and we'll get into Zelda and all that stuff later. But I'm not good at racing games. Like I play Forza and other ones that we won't mention on this particular podcast. But I'm not good at
Game
them.
of the Year 2016.
And I was going to mention it. But I get frustrated and I don't continue playing with them and I drop off very fast.
Yeah.
I could maybe never progress in my skill level with Mario Kart 8, but it's not going to matter. I'm having friends over tonight and we're going to have a blast and I'm going to play with my wife and it's just one of those games where you just sit down and you just have fun. First place, last place, doesn't matter. It's hilarious. And you can be doing fantastic and end up last anyways because someone got the stupid cell. It's just it's not a regular racer. It's fun, and that's its only point. Fun.
Yeah.
Every part of that warms my heart, Chris. I wanted to ask you guys. I didn't jump into battle very much. I played maybe like 2 rounds of battle. I was getting my butt kicked there. I just couldn't. I was doing the thing where you have to capture the shrine and race around with it.
Yeah.
That was so freaking hard. But Chris, like, what did you think of battle mode?
That's hard. So I didn't understand the concept of a couple of them. I did. The one that I know is the old battle mode where it's just the balloons and you have to hit somebody in. Okay, so I did that and I did okay. The other one I did was you had to catch a star or like hold the star for so long. And I don't think I saw it the entire match.
Right.
Like I saw the
so
icon.
hard.
Like I saw the icon and I'm like, oh, he's over there and I'm trying to turn and I'm trying to brake and do these turns and get around the obstacles and I'm like, I don't think I saw that star once. That's one thing, so I have to practice. And that's just going to come down to me practicing and getting used to the controls, actually maneuvering around the courses. But it was fun.
That's
Bobby,
the
did
one.
you think that the braking was different on battle mode?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
there's
remember.
I didn't
like a
realize.
handbrake.
I didn't realize there's a 180 turn in that as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't
That's
even. I didn't even know how to do that. I have to go and figure out how to do that. But
I think it's B, but I don't know where the buttons are on the Switch controller. So I think it's the bottom one where X is supposed to be on every other controller.
Exactly.
Listen. Nintendo came first, okay? Stop. These guys all copycatted. They changed your whereabouts. It's always been B forever.
You know what?
Forever.
I've been gaming for a little over 26, 27 years, and I've never heard that argument that, listen, Nintendo started this.
Yeah.
I have no counter.
Exactly.
And therefore, And then, so you are right. Yes, Nintendo did it first. So Nintendo's placement is correct. So
the only controller before it was the one button on the left and the joystick in the middle with the Atari 2600. After that, Before that, I don't remember all that stuff. But for me, the one that you guys are talking about with the Shine, I actually played that for the first time in my life last night, and I won. I got the Shine, and I just stayed away from everybody for 20 seconds, and the thing was over and done. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Oh snap! Yeah, that's like a TKO.
Wait, you had it from the get-go, and that was it?
No. I stole it from somebody. I kept hounding this guy and hitting him. A couple of people, like, I would hit it and it'd fall off, and I'd spin and go get it, and then someone would grab it, and I'd go, oh, no, get back here, and I'd chase them, and I'd hit them, and they'd drop it, and then someone else would scoop it up, and I'm like, after about the fourth time, I finally got it, and I was like, all right, it'll be like a second, I'm going to lose this thing. And no, I just kept driving. Next thing I know, I hear this timer, and I'm like, oh, this is counting down. I got to hang on to this. Okay. And then I was like, I'm just going to avoid people now. And then I did. But for what I was going to say is the battle mode, everybody's on a level playing field. Because this was not in Mario Kart 8. Especially this version. So learning the arenas is totally new. Mm-hmm. I don't even know, I don't know none of these arenas, except for the Super Nintendo one, and I haven't played that in so many years, I can't remember the hell the...
Does battle mode scale with, not difficulty, with the CC class? So are you fast or slow? Or is it just one set?
Yeah, I think it's one setting, and that's it. I played battle mode for maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I bounced out and went back to racing and stuff. I like battle mode. I feel like battle mode is something you need to be on voice chat with. So it wasn't enjoyable.
Yeah, voice chat or tonight we're going to be in a party. And so you have to be in a group setting. You can't play battle mode just by yourself, just with strangers online you're not talking to, because that's weird.
Exactly. So for me, so my question to you though, Chris, is do you have a Pro Controller or you're just using the Joy-Cons?
Right now, just Joy-Cons. Okay. I am getting rid of my Xbox One and then use it. I don't, Sean, listen, first of all, you owe me a Gears of War gameplay, because we talked about that.
Let's play. If it saves it, I got my controller right here. Let's go.
I've got it on
Bobby can talk. Trust me, Bobby can talk. Just play.
Here's the thing. It doesn't interest me. I haven't turned mine on since I couldn't tell you when.
I appreciate your honesty.
Anything that I want to play on it that I would care to play on that system, I can play on Windows. It's got that, buy anywhere thing. So I'm getting rid of that, and when I get rid of that, I'll use some of the funds for that to get myself the Pro Controller and a second set of Joy-Cons and all that jazz. Or maybe a second Pro Controller so my wife and I can on
the Pro Controller, I feel, is invaluable. It is amazing. I want one.
I was playing Zelda last night, and I had the, not in handheld mode, I had it docked, so I had them in the little, the cradle. And I don't have big hands, I've got little girl hands, but even in my tiny little girl hands, it was still it's too small. It was my hands were cramped, and it's hard to. Yeah. So I'm picking one up. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. Now my wife hasn't touched her Switch. She played one global test fire for Splatoon. She has not touched her Switch in all that time, and she's been stuck on my PS4 playing Fallout 4 the whole time. And last night she jumped on, and she was hyped. She said something that made me laugh. A couple nights ago, she goes, oh my God, she's looking through the Facebook group and all that stuff that we have, and she's going through and she goes, this is ridiculous. I go, what? She goes, I have never seen so many people so excited for a 4-year-old game. And I was like, makes a lot of sense. It's true.
You must not play Warcraft when the expansions come
out. Well, no, but that's different. That's different. This is the same game we just played. We literally, Sean, what was it? A couple of weeks ago, a month ago, we were all playing again, and it's
well, here's the thing, nuts. Though. Not everybody was, because what was the Wii U's sale rate? What was the the attach rate for the Wii U was great, but how many people owned one?
Mm-hmm. I think
the
she
Switch has got 2-point-something million sold. The Wii U had 13 in its 4-year life cycle. Yeah. How many more people have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already? Yeah.
I think it's more. She was more referencing all the people that were hyped about it in the group, and and we've all already we all had our game nights and stuff together. So for her, she started to get the frenzy again, because it was oh, this is going to be exciting again. And it's like you said, it is great because we're also bringing in our friends that never played before, you know what I mean, and didn't realize how. What excites me is with a game like this. What gets me hyped up is guys like you that skipped the Wii U, and you're now seeing what we were praising all last life cycle for Nintendo with the Wii U was like, these games are really great. Like, we're gonna get 3 games this year probably, meaning Smash. When they announce Smash, I'm pretty sure it'll be this year, maybe early next year.
That's gotta happen, yeah.
So Smash, Splatoon, and Mario Kart 8. Those 3 games, to me, were the most juggernaut games on the Wii U. It didn't move the needle at all, but it's interesting to me to now have guys or people that skipped the Wii U and now are playing this thing and going, oh my god, like, I can now see clearer why you guys were all hyped up about this. Why it was...
Well, for me, and I can't obviously speak for the other 50 million people who didn't buy a Wii U. I wish I could do that, but for me, not getting Wii U was twofold. One, I couldn't get past the emphasis they put on the tablet thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Switch it's a tablet, it's portable, and that's fine. I will hardly use it that way. For me, it's it sits at home in the docking station. That's just how I play games. Although I will take it to work for Mario Kart and stuff like that. The second thing was, that's weird. The second thing,
don't knock it till you try it, Chris.
Second thing was, you can tell you're a new dad, Sean. The second thing was, I couldn't get past the price point. I couldn't get past paying that premium when I could get, in my opinion, a better experience on the HD Twins, and that's why I just never picked it up. Yeah. And I missed out on some great games. I wanted to play a lot of those games. Yeah. I couldn't, and I kept waiting. When are they going to drop the price?
A lot of people.
And they never did. And even now, the Switch is out, and it's still like, if you wanted to buy a Wii U new, if you can find one, you're going to pay full. Like, they never cut the price of that system, and that's unbelievable.
I think they never cut they initially did cut the price. It was initially $350. They dropped it to $300. But they never. But people were expecting them to drop it again, and I think the reason why they never did it, there's no think, it's a definite. Especially when they announced the Switch. If they would have announced a price cut, nobody would have bought the Switch at launch, because everybody would have said, "Well, I'll just wait for the the price drop, and then I'll pick it up then." And I think that's more or less it was a game that Nintendo. Plus, Nintendo has always never wanted to devalue their product. They don't want
to say it's worth less.
No, their games are still top dollar to this day. Like, unless they put it on like Nintendo Selects, they're still top dollar. They don't charge less than $60 for any games.
Yep. And that impacts my buying, by the way. Like, that means that with a lot of other games, unless I'm super excited about it, like Persona 5, I'm not buying games day one very much these days. But with Nintendo, I am, because there's no point in waiting. Like, on when everybody's excited about it, because that's the price it's gonna be for a long time.
Even if you do like and I don't like trading stuff in, but even if you were to trade stuff in, you sell it back for not much less than what you paid for it. Nintendo games just don't drop in price. They keep their resale value. They stay up there,
Which, if you are the type of person that trades in, that's a good thing, because you're going to get top dollar when you trade in. But But let me and I want to get into the point of, like, so what was your first Nintendo console growing up?
The NES.
Okay.
Had an NES, had a Game Boy.
Okay.
Played them religiously.
Okay.
And then I went from Nintendo and having the Game Boy. I had several Game Boys throughout, but once I got rid of the NES, when the Sega came out, I wasn't informed. I didn't have Nintendo Power. I didn't have any of the magazines. We just didn't have them. Yeah. So it was to my parents that saying, "Well, this is the system you're going to get." So they knew somebody that bought a Sega, and we went from Nintendo, and then I had one of those poor Genesis kid lives.
Aww.
Yeah. Man, I thought Sonic was better than Mario. It
hurts. Dude.
It hurts.
All the bits and all the speed.
So many.
I mean, how can you argue that, Bobby?
I can argue it.
With rationale.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we had the Nintendo, and I have great memories of my brother and I playing Contra religiously.
Oh, yeah.
Paperboy and Excitebike and all those things. Loved them. And then jumped to the Genesis, and then when that was done, we jumped to PlayStation, and I had PlayStation 1 and 2. And then I dropped off a little bit. We're still playing PC stuff.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that I did. Then jumped to what was after and then I ended up having the Xbox, and then the 360, and then I jumped to PS4.
Okay.
And now I have now all 3 current gen consoles. But I was just left, and I played the other systems. Like I played GameCube, I played 64. I just never owned one. You know, my friends had one. I would go over there, and that's how I got my GoldenEye fix, and that's how, you know, all that stuff.
So you never so you only owned an NES. That was it.
That I can remember. Yeah. And
so
then
you never had the Super Nintendo, never had Nintendo 64, GameCube, Wii.
Nope.
Never had a Wii.
I had a Wii. I had a Wii.
Everybody had a Wii.
Everybody had a Wii.
Yeah.
I had mine for about 9 months to a year and a half, maybe. But it was in that period where it was before a lot of those really big, awesome games come out. It was at the very beginning. I remember playing a lot of Wii Sports. Everybody played Wii Sports. I had some weird physics-based block game. I can't remember the name of it. Steven Spielberg made it. I don't remember.
Boom Blocks. Yeah.
The Boom Blocks. I played that. And then like nothing was. I didn't like the waggle mode. I hated that. And I think I got rid of mine before they ever introduced the Wii's version of the Pro Controller, I think. So I got rid of mine before they ultimately, in my opinion, fixed the system. Had I gotten it later in its life cycle, I would have gotten the Pro Controller and played games that way. I just couldn't stand pointing at my TV and got rid of it.
Yeah.
So, and that was.
But let me ask you a question, because you made a comment early on, and I want to kind of circle back to that to figure out where this happens. Because you said Nintendo left me.
Yeah.
Where do you feel that like Nintendo left you? Or why do you feel that way?
I think they with the success of the Wii, that became a very casual console, and the games they were making did not speak to me. We never got. They had the Metroid Prime stuff, but
it was a trilogy.
It was they just didn't make the games that spoke to me. Like the Nintendo games that I remembered, obviously from the NES, I was multi-generations behind. The games didn't speak to me. It spoke to me at that console. To me, was a family console, and that's fine. But for the less hardcore gamer, at that time, I was playing the Call of Duties, and I didn't want to have to point at the TV to play Call of Duty. I was playing Halo. I was playing Gears of War. I was doing a lot of these big, huge open-world action RPGs, and not the Nintendo branded ones because they just didn't appeal to me. Like the aesthetics of those types of games didn't appeal to me. I like my Marios and my Zeldas, though I have never beat one. My Metroids, even though the only one I've ever played is the 2D ones. That's just the games that I played. I thought the system was great for emulation. I think in hindsight, I wish I'd kept it just to play the eShop games.
Yeah.
I would have played those all day long. And I'm hoping, and I assume that it will, the Switch gets that type of eShop.
Yeah.
Because then I'm set. If the Switch gets that kind of stuff, I'm golden. And I can make up for lost time.
Yeah. Listen, if they don't bring the eShop with the classics to the Switch, they are going to go down as hands down to one of the dumbest companies in the world. But they're not dumb when it comes to their classics. They know what they have. It's just I think they're trying to curate it properly, get it in place. I think E3 we hear about all that, and then they go.
Oh, I'm sure. I think E3 this year and next year, what we need to hear about, for me, to justify the purchase of the Switch, we mentioned it earlier, a lot of people didn't have a Wii U.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games on there because of the way that system works that are going to be stuck on that system forever. Yeah. And people like myself will never get to play them. And I want ports of some of those games.
I think you're going to see more as time goes on.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because like I said, in my mind, I felt like the Wii U was hands down one of the better generations for Nintendo games. In terms of, like, for a long time in the early goings, everything was so high on Metacritic. Like, they were hitting 90s and 80s, every single thing they put out. Towards the end of the life cycle, it went to crap. But in the middle, they just really were hammering home some great games. I think that, now granted, like, it's never going to compete to the vast library of other consoles, like the NES and the Super Nintendo. I think it's better than the N64. I think it's better than the GameCube. I think it's better than the Wii. In my opinion, it'd probably be a number 3 overall in terms of, like, Nintendo games. I'm not talking third parties and stuff because that's hard to compete against. But if you're talking Nintendo games, they had some really great games with the Wii U. You know, and there was games that came out of the blue that like nobody even saw, like Captain Toad and stuff like that. Like really fun games that were just little bite-sized games that were just like, to me, Captain Toad would be perfect on the Switch. Perfect on the Switch because you could play a couple of levels, shut it down, go do whatever, pick it back up, play again, put it down. Like I think something Captain Toad is perfect for Switch. My question would be then, what made you buy a Switch? Like, what was it that said, like, okay, this is time to get back on Nintendo?
The Switch is the closest thing to a regular home console that they've had since the 64, I think. Their thing, and even with the handheld lines, with the 3DS and all that kind of stuff, has been gimmicky gameplay. With the Wii's, the motion controllers, the Wii U's, gamepad, stuff like that. What I've always wanted from Nintendo, what I would have gone back for instantly if they said, here's our box, it sits in front of your TV, here's a controller, and you play games with a controller in your hand. It's got shoulder buttons, it's got this thing, yada yada. That's what I want. Now, I know that they don't want to get lost in the shuffle and just be the third pillar of, here's these two HD twins, we're not competing in power, so you only buy our system for our games, which is what they have. But I didn't want the gimmick stuff. I don't like the gimmick stuff. I don't care about it. I don't want any of it. I want a home console. This one's portable. Cool. I'm not going to use it that way. Very rarely will I ever take it off the dock. Except for situations where I have to poop, apparently. Thank you, Sean. So that's what it was. For me, it was, here's what you wanted. You wanted a dedicated home console that there's no gimmick. If the gimmick is that it's portable, cool, I can deal with that. And it's portable in the way that the Wii U never was. The Wii U claimed to be portable, but you couldn't get out of the room that the console was in. So,
and you don't have to use it. Like, here's the difference. With the gamepad, you had to use it as a controller. So the fact that I couldn't leave the 20-foot radius sucked. With this, I don't have to use it that way. But, oh, by the way, I want to go to bed. What's that? Yeah, the wife wants to go to bed early. I don't want to go to bed yet. You know what? I'll take this thing up. I'll lay in bed and play. That's the beauty of this thing.
Yes, and so it gives me what I want while also having this extra functionality that doesn't get in the way of what I want. All it does is add to, does not take away from. Whereas the Wii and the Wii U, in my opinion, took away from what I wanted from Nintendo, a home console. I wanted something. I would have preferred if they were using slightly better Integra chips in it. I'm not going to get into the specs and all that kind of stuff. But I would have preferred that. That being said, the two games that I played on it, Mario Kart and Zelda, look fantastic.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm not going to complain.
Because you dipped on that, and I want to ask you a question. Do you feel, because Sean and I have talked about this ad nauseum, but mainly me, and Sean yells at me and tells me to shut up, but do you feel...
One time!
Canadians don't even say shut up. That's too rude for them.
Trust me. I know. He says, no.
Please be quiet.
No. He says, shut the F up. That's the difference. Like,
I don't believe. It's on that I know.
It's on the internet.
It's documented, man. It's documented.
In that case, the old episode.
My question to you is,
do
you feel that the tablet section will see upgrades in the future
you think
that can make it more powerful? Take like an Apple model or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Nintendo's history with, I don't want to call it hardware upgrades. And with the exception of the handheld line, I can't think of them doing that.
Well,
you know what I mean? With the exception of the
N64,
the Game Boy line.
The N64 got that expansion pack that made it more powerful.
That was a memory thing, kind of mostly.
But it was to help make games. I get what you're saying. It wasn't anything.
But they almost went in with the DD, the 64 DD. Like that was on, like that was built into the system.
What I'll say is
this: have been added on, but they dropped it.
What I'll say is this: Sony and Microsoft have set precedents in that space now with the Pro and the Scorpio, whatever that's going to be called. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for Nintendo to say, "Hey, it's viable. People are willing to pay for it. If we can make this thing slightly better, not necessarily. I wouldn't go smaller. I wouldn't go big. I think it's the perfect size. And if you do, I wouldn't change the size. But they can say, hey, it's been 3 years, yada yada, and the price of the chips have come down, and we can put the Tegra 3 or the Tegra 4, whatever's not in it now, the newer one in there, and we can bump up the internal memory from 32 to something more reasonable, like 64 or 128 internal, which you probably should have started with. I can see them doing it. Because there is a precedent for that now with the HD twins making that move. had Sony and Microsoft not had their systems the way they were, it wouldn't even be a thought of mine that that would be a thing. It would just be this what the Switch is from now until we replace it with the Switch U.
With me,
God help us.
God, please don't say that. For me though, when I watch the iterations of the 3DS and the constant upgrades and the DS, you know what I mean, and now we're seeing like a 2DS XL and all that. Like when you see those
console,
when you see the iterations that they do with that. To me, this is a no-brainer, and I think it becomes the Apple model, where I think the first upgrade might come in 2 years, but then I think they almost take a yearly mode with it. I think it all depends on Nvidia of what they can do.
Right. I think it depends. I think the biggest thing is the cost of the chips from Nvidia, and do those come down, and what is the performance gain?
Yeah.
I think the difference between the handheld models and the Switch, for me anyways, is the price tag. I can buy a $150 2DSL that's in stock, assumably.
Yeah.
I can't drop, even trying to sell this one and trade it in, all that kind of stuff. If the price stays the same, maybe, but you get a better system, does the price go up?
Well,
you know what I mean? That PS4 Pro and the Xbox Scorpio, they're better systems.
Yeah, but think about it. If you're only buying this here, the centerpiece, you don't need to buy the Joy-Cons. You don't need to buy a dock. You don't need power chargers or anything. If this
they
is
wouldn't
the
include
only,
them in the box anyways.
Yeah, but this but this is it right here. You're only buying the tablet part. I think if they told me I had to pay $300 for this and it's ramped up, I'm in. I'm honestly in. You know that.
Oh man, I don't know.
Which means that the previous version drops down. Like that's the Apple model you're talking about.
Yes.
It's like it's always the same price. Older models drop down a little bit, and it creates a thing at retail where you're always wanting to buy the newest thing, but it also creates this economy within like the secondhand market as well, where people buy the old one from the people who just want to get to the new thing, and that kind of expands the customer base for buying games and going on digital and subscribing to things. I think it would be very, very smart for Nintendo. We've been talking about this forever, Bobby, but I definitely expect them, especially after this new 2DS XL. Nintendo will stop at nothing.
It's so weird. I would have bet my house on it that they would have tried to phase that line out completely and just let the Switch be the thing. It's the portable console that you play at home. That's a weird move. I don't know who the system is for.
Well, here's the thing. I think Nintendo recognizes they have a lot of, and as I'm saying this, it just hit me now. You have a lot of people that left Nintendo, and I think they recognize that. And I think they realize they have a lot of new people coming back in that have missed all their consoles along the way. If they were to tell you, hey, here's a $150 thing, and look at this amazing library, because that 3DS has a phenomenal library. And what you're saying about the virtual console, it's all there. It's baked right in. So if you turn around and you go, hey, I missed all this 3DS, I missed all this, let me go take a look at this stuff now. I'm enjoying my Switch. Let me go take a look at this stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's more or less. No, I know
put that stuff on the Switch.
But you're not going to put 3DS games on the Switch, I think.
Put the 3DS eShop on the Switch.
What
they need to do is unify their eShop, because what's on the Wii U and what's on the Wii and what's on the 3DS is all different. You can get different things. It's dumb. Unify it, one shop. You're set.
I think they don't want to screw up the dual screen. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem like it's a lot for a lot of stuff, but like you're playing Fire Emblem, you have the map on the bottom. You have there's certain games that it takes full advantage of to utilize that stuff. Like even Zelda on there, there's a full map on the bottom. There's stuff on the top. I just think that they're looking at it and going like, let's give people another cheaper jump in over here.
Then I would have made that I would have made that a $99 system then.
Well, they do have the $99 system. That's just the 3DS.
The original 2DS, yeah.
Well, no. I think the original 2DS is $89. Then they have the 3DS regular size, which is $100.
Oh, is it?
This would be
Is it always, or is that like a Black Friday kind of Christmas deal?
I don't think it ever went back up.
Oh,
I don't think it ever went back up.
See, I would phase that out, because they're clearly saying.
Oh, I would get rid of it all.
The 3D is not a thing. They're not focusing on it. They've dropped it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Replace it. This is the new system.
Yeah.
I get they had to do the weird naming scheme. This is the new handheld line. It's the 2DS XL, whatever.
Which actually,
and this is what it is.
Like isn't it just a DS again?
It's just a DS. It's a DS XL. That is exactly.
That's all it is.
They remade the Nintendo DS. It's 10 years old, and here's the anniversary edition.
There you go.
Giant screen. It's gorgeous screen.
You are the first person to realize that, by the way. I haven't heard anybody say that.
Nobody. Nobody else has said it. Yeah. No, it's
I'm not even being sarcastic.
Oh, I totally am.
But it's a half-baked strategy. This whole notion of having like a low-cost entry, like for people who had lapsed being Nintendo fans, having a low cost to jump into their ecosystem. You jump into it, but it's not a fully realized ecosystem, like you said, Chris. Like all the eShops are separate. Like for this thing to really have knocked it out of the park, you get in for $150. You're buying games that will actually transfer over to what Nintendo ultimately wants to get you on, which is the Switch, because that's where a subscription model is going to be coming in. That's where you're going to be buying the brand new games, the in Canada, $80, $60 games. That's where they should have been. So it makes sense to me, but man, every step forward, it's like 3 steps sideways and backwards and all that bad stuff.
I think that if they were, I'm iffy with it. Like I'm half and half. Like I'm okay with it for some degree. But then I'm.
Are you gonna get one?
Yeah. I like them.
Nintendo group.
I know, man. I have to. I didn't buy the.
Which one do you like?
I like the black and the blue. It's really
that's
cool.
nice.
I actually like them both. But if they did a black and a red one,
they both look good.
If they did a black and a red one, I'd be in love.
That's Chris's right now.
Yeah.
That's what he's.
Yeah.
That's his attire.
Yeah.
They both look fantastic.
But for me, I look at it and I go, I'm one part of me goes, well, this makes sense because of this. But then the realistic me and the person that's not a Nintendo core fan, it's just like, you dumbasses. Why are you just not focused on the Switch at least until Christmas? You want to bring this out at Christmas time? Knock yourself out. But why would you do it now? Yeah.
But as an E3, like, and by the way,
well, I think they want the focus to be
They need to focus on the Switch. Yeah. The Switch is a month old, and they released a new console, and it's weird. If they were going to do it, which I disagree with, now is not the right time.
No, I agree.
I disagree. I think this bodes well for Nintendo's E3. I think that the fact that they've got it, this is a pretty major announcement. It kind of came out of nowhere. Right. They're getting it out of the way.
But now instead of focusing 100% on the Switch, which they should have done, which E3 should be 100% focused on the Switch, now they have to dedicate some of that screen time, some of that Nintendo Direct, because they won't be at the conference, to
I see what you mean.
Here's 2DS games.
Like the Nintendo Direct that we just got was a lot of 3DS family type of
games. And they got to split that focus.
I think Reggie just came out today too and said that like we're going to continue to support to at least until 2018 this whole thing. I guess because somebody said like, why would you do this? Well, we're gonna support this console till we have games in the pipeline till 2018. We want to give something new. And you know what? They're probably looking at the warehouse. They got a bunch of parts, that they've bought. Because it's not.
They just walk into a warehouse, they put their hands on their hips, take a look around, go,
what do we do with all this stuff?
No, but the thing of it is
put it together.
I think this is a console that's sold. So they were probably buying stuff
100%.
in advance to get prepared. Because this isn't the Wii U. This is a console that's sold like mad. But I think when they looked at it, they go, statistically, we know people don't play with the 3D. Because they do know whether you're playing 3D or not.
It's the best-selling console of all time.
Yes.
So let's just make another one.
Yeah.
And put a 2 on it.
So we have the 2DS. We know that sells okay. We have the 3DS, but people don't play in 3D most of the time. And a lot of our newer games don't even have the 3D function in it. So let's just go with it and see what happens.
I think it's a smarter system than people are giving credit for.
The screen is bigger than the
huge. It looks like it's almost like the whole top half of it looks like it's all screen, no bezel practically. It's huge.
Yep. They had a nice, like in that little video, the reveal, they showed how closely it comes to the edge, which is super nice. There was a chart going around that showed kind of like the usage or the purchasing habits by region, and it seems like this is really for Europe. Yeah. Europe is buying up the 2DS right now, like the wedge version, the doorstop, as somebody called it, which I think is hilarious. It seems. I was like, who's asking for this? And then immediately after I tweeted that, I saw a chart, and it's like, apparently Europe is asking for exactly this.
Well, and it's funny because
wouldn't you rather this though, Bobby? Like I look at Nintendo's strategy where the Switch is their main thing. That's what they want you to buy. They've got this low cost to entry into their ecosystem, being the 3DS family, the 2DS being $150. I think this is better than what we have over in PlayStation land, which is a relatively high cost, the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. And then the add-on, the additional, like the accessory is the VR, which is insanely, to me, is very, very expensive.
Did you seriously just skip the Vita?
Yeah, so does Sony. Sony skips the Vita. I'm just following their lead.
Well,
but even Nintendo's got, like, they're taking the opposite approach. Yeah. They've got the one that they want you for, and then they've got something for people who aren't quite so hardcore. Sony's starting with hardcore and then trying to bump you up a little bit more with an unproven technology. Like, this strategy from Nintendo is so different. And I think we just sort of need to acknowledge and appreciate that. I think that that's better. It's more in line with how I want to spend my money. Yeah. But I know that there's a niche group out there who just want to throw thousands and thousands of dollars to Sony.
See, I can see the 2DS being for, hey, I'm a dad and I want to get my kid a system, but I don't want to drop $300 on a tablet that's very expensive, can easily be broken, yada yada yada.
Keep them away from my Switch.
Yeah. Keep them away from my Switch. I want a Switch, but I don't want little Johnny to go touch it or Link to touch it. So here's your $150 clamshell that closes, and if you drop it, it's fine because it's screen closed and you're fine. So I mean, I can see that. And again, you can't argue with the DS library or the 3DS library. It's huge. It's fantastic. Massive, it's Make amazing. A top 25 and don't like hurt yourself doing it. Forget it.
You could literally buy a game a week for the entire year. And enjoy and have the greatest year ever. An amazing game. Yeah, they have some awesome, so many amazing games.
It's just
on the thing.
For me, the biggest thing is the timing. It just seems
the
weird.
timing's
You're literally on the heels of what needs to be your saving grace console, the console that you're relying on to bring back people like me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I like. What you're hitting on to me. That you have the Nintendo faithful, to some degree, like myself, that I feel are. They're utilizing this thing as Nintendo marketed it both ways. But there's a lot of people like you that are coming back that are only using it as a home console, and that's all they're viewing it as. But then you have Japan that's only using it as a mobile thing. And that's funny because when you watch the advertising, like if you go to YouTube and you watch the advertising campaigns for both, you watch Japanese commercials and you watch North American commercials, it's focused more home console for us, and over there it leads in with the mobile stuff, and then it drops in.
Mobile market.
They're a mobile market.
Japan's a mobile market. Yeah, handheld
and that's
phone
where
games, and that's their thing.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like this is why it's a home run for Nintendo, because they were able to hit two markets and close the gap for themselves and make things. And if they can focus on the tablet in the future and just upgrade that rather than having to do another launch like this again, they're set. I really think they position themselves in a good place.
I want to ask a question because we keep talking about how weird the timing is for this new 2DS XL multiple Mega Championship Edition console. When would be better? Like, to me, this needed to come out as soon as possible because the later it gets, the more weird it gets. The more success that the Switch garners, the weirder it gets to go, oh, by the way, we've got a new handheld piece. Like, is it because of the timing is weird because it's this far ahead of E3? Is it because it's this soon after the Switch? Like, if not now, then when?
Yeah, and that's the answer, or that's the question. Because for me, I know why they did it. They did it for Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is launching in Japan, and they're actually getting a limited edition slime, like metal slime edition.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's
gorgeous.
Awesome.
It's
I don't
gorgeous.
even like Dragon Quest, but I would buy that version.
Chris.
Yeah.
I would buy that version because it looks awesome.
Yeah. So in Japan, they know this new game is coming. It's going to be massive in Japan. So what do? You want to steal shares away from Sony because it's going on PlayStation. It's going on the 3DS. Originally, they said Switch, but they haven't really talked about it since. But it's so. How do you steal numbers? You put out this new limited edition thing, give people a reason to go buy this thing again because we're going to give you the bigger screen, all this stuff, and it's 2D because I don't think that game's going to be in 3D. So it's a win. It's a win across the board.
That might be the reason. Then that makes the most sense of any other thing I've been able to think of as to why a month after Switch, which is still impossible to find. I don't know what it's like in Jersey or in Canada.
That's the other reason, Chris.
People
walk into a store wanting to give money to Nintendo. They want to buy a Nintendo.
Switch isn't here. Oh, here's the new.
Mind you, it's not coming until summer. But this is the thing, like this announcement comes off the coattails of all the success. People are talking about Nintendo. It's top of mind. Like we can't undervalue what it means for people to be like, name me a video game system. And for people right now, Nintendo is first that it's going to come out of their mind. It's not going to be Xbox, maybe PlayStation, just because of how prolific that thing is sold. But Nintendo is across every single headline, not even just within the games industry. It is everywhere. Yeah. So they shouldn't wait for that promotion, that awareness to die down, and then go, by the way, we're going to do this whole 2DS thing. It makes a lot of sense to just keep up with all the momentum that they've gotten and go, we got even more for you. While you're thinking about Nintendo, we've got even more for you to buy. So that, to me, this makes more sense than I think people are giving it credit for. Just the fact that it's a 2DS automatically triggers our WTF kind of questions. Like, this thing is so weird.
And here's the thing, too. Again, you have all these people... I'm going back to it, but you have all these people now that are new. And,
exactly.
Like, Chris, I don't know if you owned a 3DS or not, but you're like...
Yeah. My wife's got one, I have one, I had one.
But I'm saying if you didn't, let's say you didn't own one, right? Because you left or whatever. So now you have a Switch, and you're like, man, I'm loving this Nintendo. I need more. Oh, wow. In the summer, I have time to recoup some funds. In the summer, here comes a 2DS. I'll buy that, and there's a huge library already. So I think it's a way, yes, to get entry-level people in. It's to get people back and further into playing more franchises. They want people to play Pokemon. They want people to play Fire Emblem. They want them to play Animal Crossing, the 2D top-down Zelda games. Because I think that stuff, in 2018, 2019, when the handheld goes away for Nintendo, in terms of like a dedicated handheld, that's where all those types of games are going to start moving to Switch, and they want people to be familiar with them. Dude, if they put Pokemon on the Switch, it's game over, man. It is lights out, because
Stars is one.
Yeah,
I would bet the farm that Pokemon Stars, which I think is the rumored name, hits Switch. There's no. That thing's hitting the Switch.
If it does, and it's a legit game, forget about it.
It has to.
You saw what they did with Pokemon.
It's not even fair. I know. Like, when you say that, it's just not even fair. Like,
it's
forget
fair.
About it.
It's fair.
It's like,
for me, the last thing I'll say about the 2DSL, for me, like you mentioned, coming back into the system, or back into the Nintendo fold, it's just priced just outside of the, hey, while I'm here, I can add that to my cart.
Yes.
At $100 price point, I say, hey, you know what? It's cheap enough. I can grab it. It can be on end caps. You can put that anywhere. They could sell that the way they tried to sell, or they successfully sold the NES Classic. You know what I mean? It could be off shelves like that. At $150, I think it could sit on shelves.
I think you're gonna watch that thing blow off. I think that thing's gonna be so hard to get.
And it's super high margin. You gotta know they're making gravy on that thing.
Yeah, I hate that thing that's so freaking hard to get. That's my biggest pet peeve with Nintendo. Yeah. I want to give you money. Put the product on the shelf so I can do so, please.
I know. That's the
manufacturer scarcity is annoying.
It's a shame, because when the time that they get ballsy and they're like, we're just going to flood the market, it doesn't move, and that's the Wii U. And then so then it puts them back in their conservative shell, and then everything.
Or the Animal Crossing amiibo.
Yeah. They honestly, that was them listening to people screaming, so pissed off that they couldn't get any to Smash, and Nintendo looked at it. Animal Crossing is a big franchise for Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
And when they looked at it, they were like,
those characters aren't Mario. Those characters aren't Link. Those characters aren't,
They hurt themselves by not putting out a legitimate Animal Crossing game with it. They gave us 2 trash games with it, and it was like, I don't want these things for that. I bought them because I'm a fan of Animal Crossing, but if I wasn't a fan of Animal Crossing, I would have been like everybody else, like, why? What's this garbage? Yep. And then they went over the top with them, and they just sat. Now we're getting to the point, now they're going like conservative again. They bring out Zelda, and you can't find the things. Like, they're blowing out in 2 seconds. It's like, so sadly, when they get kind of that bravado, it backfires on them. So it sucks. I just wish they would kind of find that even keel, where they could go. So you came back to Nintendo. You're playing Zelda. What's your thoughts on Zelda?
I started last night after we got done with I bounced off of Mario Kart after I put my daughter to bed, and I started, and it was 2:00 when I stopped playing.
Wow.
That is the most Zelda I've played in my life. I've never I've never. So, A, I've never beaten a Zelda. B, I've never played more than an hour of Zelda.
Oh,
What makes it
wow.
worse is I have Toon Link. Sean, I showed you this about a year ago. I have a Nintendo themed tattoo on my leg, and it's a tiki totem. It's got Mario and so on and so forth. And part of that is Toon Link.
Oh wow.
I just love that design. I just love that design of Link.
Yeah.
And I've only played the intro 10 minutes of that game.
Oh
And I've
my
only played
God.
the intro 10 minutes of most Zeldas.
Yeah.
And I sat down with this thing last night, and I just got off the Great Plateau, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to the controls. It controls oddly, like the way, and maybe it's just because I'm doing it on the dock, the little thing, and so it's my hands are cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, the button placement work. It's also close together, but besides
it controls weird. You're right.
Yeah. Besides that, like running and jumping should be next to each other, and they're above each other, and it's weird. Even if you swap them, it's still they're like this instead of side to side. Its game is awesome.
That's
Like,
the one.
I mean, I've only just started, and it's I can tell you, I'm going to lose a lot of time to this one. I know, and I'm looking at the forecast of what's coming out in the next 6 months, for PlayStation and PC, and there's a couple of gems. But this one might hold me over, and I might just save some money and then get those on sales or just after the fact. Because this one, and then eventually I'm sure we'll get the Switch is going to hold me for a while.
Yeah.
Switch, if Nintendo wants to keep me forever, give me an achievement system or a trophy system, and then forget it. I may never go back, but I've had a great time in the 3-4 hours or whatever that I started playing last night.
I think the advantage that we're starting to see, and I think we will get an achievement system, because I believe
It's not coming, Bobby.
No.
No, it's not coming.
Hear me out.
All right.
Just hear me out. What you're seeing with Nintendo right now is the new regime. It's the younger guys. And I think they are fans of everything that's out there right now. And they want these things. But they're trying to get the old guard to let their guard down a little bit. And
It's entirely possible.
because you look at Splatoon was the Mario team. It was they did Galaxy. They did Mario Galaxy. And then they finally were given their chance to go. Boom. ARMS, same thing. You look at Zelda, and Zelda was I was just talking about this earlier with Toby and Alan when we had them on the Geekcast, and to me the coolest thing was Nintendo was stale, they were hurting, and the team that's working on Zelda goes to Inuma with this idea that we want to shake things up. We're reading what the internet says. We feel the same. We want to ratify things. They go to Iwata, and Iwata goes, wreck it. Do whatever you want to do. Everything. Bring me every idea you have, and we're going to go, and we're going to see what sticks. And he stuck with every idea not every idea. There was some space stuff and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like the major points that we have today is all in there. And it's like the younger generation at Nintendo get it. And that makes me happy, because I think we're in good hands. Once these guys, I love Miyamoto, but I feel like once he kind of steps aside and lets more of the younger guys go, Inuma steps aside and lets them go, you're going to start to see, and they are starting to let that happen, but you're going to start to see like some amazing things. And I think that when Kimishima steps down, which will probably be in a couple years, when he finally steps down and they put a new president in, because he's only supposed to be interim, he's only supposed to be there for a few, he's like in the 70s. He only stepped in because they needed somebody. I think once he steps away and they bring someone in, they're going to bring someone in younger, i.e. a Phil Spencer, type of deal. I think that's when all this stuff starts to come in. And
can we just get Phil Spencer? Look what he did. Look what he did for Microsoft. Turn that ship around.
I love it. Honestly, I'm buying the Scorpio. I'm buying a Scorpio this year, and Phil Spencer.
I won't, because I have a PC that's better, anyways.
Yeah.
That being said, if I didn't have the rig that I have, I probably would.
Yeah.
And
it's all Phil Spencer. It's because of
100%.
He
I want to
talks
touch back
to
on
me.
Zelda.
Yeah.
I mentioned that I haven't played Zelda and I've never whatever. Playing this one makes me want to go back retroactively and play the older ones, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because I don't know
feel
how
like
I
that's
play.
the definition of game of the year, man. Everything that you've said is like, this is streaming game of the year.
How do I play this one, which is for all intents and purposes going to be not immaculate, but it's going to be incredible, and I'm going to have memories of this and yada yada.
Masterpiece.
How do I go from this, having never played the originals, to then going back to an emulator.
You
or
go
3D
2D.
Or an
2D.
Yeah.
You're saying skip.
Go Link to the Past or a Link Between Worlds.
I go Link to the Past first.
You'll be just as happy.
If you go Link to the Past first, and Link Between Worlds, you're good.
I'm thinking stick. You're saying play the 2D ones only.
Yes.
And the 3D ones will be absolute garbage to you now. Maybe Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yes. Wind Waker, yes. Twilight Princess.
Ocarina? You're saying skip Ocarina?
They're very hand-holdy.
They're
very hand-holdy. They're very hand-holdy.
Pre Breath, wasn't Ocarina the one to play?
They said pre Breath of the Wild, it typically went Twilight, Ocarina, Majora's Mask could float anywhere in there. But those three were the ones that people always would talk to as my favorite of all time. And if you look at it, all three, because of the clamoring of fans, got HD remasters in the past couple of years. Wind Waker, you throw that in there. If it was me, if I'm in your shoes, and I'm suggesting to you what I would do, the only 3D one that I personally would play would be Wind Waker, because it's not hand-holdy.
Gotcha.
And the reason why I say it, I know people are probably flipping out right now, screaming at me. The reason why I say that is because what Breath of the Wild achieves and does, you will go absolutely insane if you go back to these games and they just hold your hands. Because Breath of the Wild does anything but that. And I feel like of all the three, I feel like all the three 3D world games, that's the Wind Waker is the one that really doesn't hold your hands.
At least hand-holding.
Yes.
Gotcha.
As far as 2D ones, I'm assuming you played the original.
No.
Really? I go play the original. That'd be the first one I play. Because that's
start with one and then go right. And then not 2, because Zelda 2 is not. It's Link's Awakening after that, right?
It's hard, man. Zelda 2 is hard. That's why
I've heard that's not even a good Zelda game. I've heard that you play the original, which is just Legend of Zelda, right?
Yeah, it's top down. Yeah.
And then you go from there to Link's Awakening, right?
No, Link to the Past. Link to the Past.
Link's Awakening is the one that they just did for the
That's
DS,
the Game Boy. That's the Game Boy.
The Game Boy one.
Yeah.
See, this is what I don't know.
Yeah, but for me, when you compare them all, Breath of the Wild and the original Zelda, they're identical. They both drop you off. They don't say anything. Go. Just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, this, to me, is a reimagining of the original Zelda. That's, in my opinion. Like, when you go back and you look at, there's some pieces that are there. When you look at the original artwork from the original Zelda, they pulled some of that stuff out with this one. It's very identical in those terms.
When I finish Breath in 400 hours or however long it takes me, I will find a way to play the original.
The only way it takes you.
Hopefully by that time there's an eShop or something, or I can play it on my wife's got the 3DS. I'm sure it's got to be on the 3DS eShop.
They are. So. The only way it takes you 400 hours if your last name is Capri. Because he's going to take you.
That's my goal. I'm just going to upset you.
Here's the thing: he's a new dad. He has nothing but time to play the one
true.
game because he can't afford other games.
Let me explain something.
That's very true.
Let me explain something to you. He bought the Switch March 3rd. He had a full month before Lincoln came around. He had plenty of time.
Month and a half, really.
What's your excuse?
I like wandering around. This is the thing. This game has changed how I even want to play the game. I am in no rush. I think that I'll still be playing this game next March 3rd.
Yeah.
I'm in no rush, dude.
If it wasn't for Mario Kart...
The reason, like, to be honest, I don't know what to do next. I'm bad at this game. Like, I don't know how to, like, I don't know how to progress in it. So I'm saying, like, I love exploring.
Let me give you
I don't know
advice.
what the hell I'm doing.
Don't name your son after a character that you're bad at playing next time.
You know what?
So for Child 2, don't name him Mario because, if you're bad at Mario, don't do that.
But I'm actually okay at Mario.
If you tell me, I've been playing Mario Odyssey for 500 hours because I can't figure out how to get to Bowser.
Oh.
Maybe don't name your son Mario. Maybe don't do that.
I think Sonic is the next name in the
Oh! If you want your son to get made fun of all the time, you name your kid Sonic.
You don't name him after the little blue guy?
Oh, God.
Yep, he's just going to have red shoes all the time.
Did you scan that into to Mario Kart yet?
I scanned all the amiibo that I have, so I'm missing a few, and that's just
Whoa. Stop.
What? I don't
all the amiibo you have.
Yeah.
How many amiibo do you have?
1, 2, 3,
How many
4,
amiibo do you
5,
have,
6,
non-Nintendo
7, 8,
fan?
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and my buddy has my Zeldas 22, 23, 24. Here's the thing. I don't like the systems. I can't stand the systems.
I love this.
But I am I'm a Nintendo. I didn't buy this for your podcast. I had this.
Yeah.
It's from the New York store. It's from the New York store, right? I still love the characters.
Yeah.
Little Mac and Wario and Yoshi and Olimar and freaking Peach and the different Zeldas, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, the different Pokemon that I don't have Mewtwo, which bothers me.
Hang on a second. I just realized you're giving me crap for naming my son Lincoln, and I'm not good at Breath of the Wild. You've got a tattoo.
Shut your mouth.
Tattooed on your skin. Anyway, just wanted to point that out in case nobody had realized.
I've also never beat Donkey Kong, but it doesn't stop me from having it on my leg.
Hey man, you're the one casting stones.
Oh my God.
No, I'm saying, Bobby, get us out of here.
That is all. Thank you guys for listening to us. iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, We the Gamercast is not the one you should be checking out. WeTheNerdy.com. I totally messed that up. Oh my God, Chris! My mind's elsewhere right now. Chris,
it's okay. I do that.
Tell us how they can find you and all that good stuff.
You can really find me just pretty much on Twitter at the only Berto, Berto, and that is the best way to get in touch with me for anything.
Okay, Sean, he's on Twitter. Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. You can follow me at Nintendo Gurus. Follow the podcast at If We Ran Nintendo. See me later.
Bye.
Adios.
Oh, that's way better. See, there's your new co-host.